scene 3 is going to start in a heath near forest, and it's going to be storming. So what does that tell you? Bad stuff's happening. Dun, dun, dun. And we have the witches coming back. I love the witches. They're just so great. So let's go ahead and start.
Act 1, Scene 3. A barren heath. Enter the three witches.
Where hast thou been, sister?
Killing swine.
Sister, where thou?
A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I, aroint thee, which the rump-fed Runyon cries. Her husband's to Aleppo gone, master of the tiger. But in a sieve I'll thither sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do, and I'll do.
I'll give thee a wind.
Thou'rt kind.
And I another.
Let's go dive into that. Sorry, I didn't realize it was that low. I apologize. So let me switch that around. All right. So let's go back and look at the first part. We have our three witches. They're back again. And the first witch is like, hey, sis, where you been? And the second witch is like, I was like killing pigs. It's my thing. Now, swine are pigs, okay? And swine fever was thought to be caused by witches killing the pigs in King James's time. So this is going to be that like little illusion for the people who are sitting in the theater watching Macbeth. And they were just all like, oh, we knew those witches were bad. And now we 100% know that they're real witches. They're not like fake witches or something like that, because they're out going and killing those pigs. Now, I don't know. Oh, good question of blood sacrifice. I don't know. I'm not up on the swine fever craze of where they believed with the witches. That's a really good question. So I don't know the answer to that. But yeah, so she's just out killing some pigs just for giggles and fun, apparently. I don't know. And so then the third witch is like, sister, where were you? And the first witch is like, girl, I have a story. She's like, I was just walking down the street, and all of a sudden I smelled roasted chestnuts. So let's just go and remember back to when we used to go to the mall. And I specifically am thinking of Genesee Valley with this, because that was the mall that I went to when I was a kid. And I remember walking down the like mall area, and all of a sudden you would smell the Johnny Almond stand. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? And you're just all like, what is that most glorious scent on the face of the earth? Now, I don't like almonds. I hate them. But darn it, do they smell delicious? And my mouth waters every single time I would go to the mall. And my mom liked to go to the mall a lot. And of course I had to go because, we didn't pay for babysitters. So it was, you're just going with mom. And so that is exactly like what the first witch is kind of feeling, of where she's just walking down the street and all of a sudden she smells roasted chestnuts and she's like, what is this deliciousness? And so she looks around and she sees this lady who's just sitting on the side of the road, I guess. I don't know. She's just minding her own business. She's eating her delicious chestnuts. So she goes up to this woman and she says, gimme your chestnuts now. Okay, so if you were this woman, would you go and just hand over your chestnuts? I mean, this is food. This is fighting. Really? You're so nice. I wouldn't share my food. That's my food. And this is a stranger. Like if a stranger just comes up to you and is like, give me your food, you're gonna be that nice? Yeah, it is a witch. and a stranger witch. I mean, she's gonna look a little funky. She's gonna look a little scary. Yeah. You'll find out that she has a beard later. Yes. the, the comment is, if Beauty and the Beast taught me anything, it's that you should always be nice to witches. Okay, but maybe she was hungry. I don't know. But anyway, this lady said no and get away from me. And then she made like the sign of the devil to take away the influence of the devil towards the witch. And she's just all like, let me be, let me eat my chestnuts. And so the first witch didn't handle that too well. And so then when she says, Aroint the witch, the rump-fed Runyon cries, now she's talking crap about her, and she's all like, that lady don't even need those chestnuts because she has a big booty. Yeah, the drama's starting with this witch, let me tell you. She's also like, I should have those chestnuts. She shouldn't. She can, I don't know, live off the land or something. You know, she's just being mean. She's being rude. Just, witch, go and get your own chestnuts, you know, or pay for them at least. You know, she's not even offering to pay for them. She's just like, gimme. That's rude. So then the first witch goes and pretty much like stalks this lady, the chestnut lady, and finds out all her business and finds out that she is the wife of a sailor. Now remember, there's no social media back then. How does she find this out? I don't know. It's kind of creepy and weird, and I have a lot of issues with this on so many levels. Then she finds out that her husband, the sailor, is away working on this ship called the Tiger. And the ship is going to the Syrian port Aleppo. And therefore, because she did not get these chestnuts, she is going to shapeshift into a tailless rat and go onto the boat and make the husband's life miserable. All over some chestnuts, y'all. All over some chestnuts. That is a lot of work. Yes. So let's see how the other witches respond. I don't know. I'd like to think that if it were me, I'd be like, you know, that seems like you need a Snickers. Remember that commercial? Getting a little hangry. Perhaps that's a little bit too much. You need to take a moment, as Taylor Swift would say, you need to calm down, and not do that. So let's see how they respond.
I myself have all the other, and the very ports thy blow, all the quarters that they know in the shipman's card. I will drain him dry as hay, sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live a man forbid. Weary 7 nights 9 times 9 shall he dwindle, peak and pine. Though his bark cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest tossed. Look what I have.
All right. So the sister witches are just all like, that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to help you out and I'm going to give you some wind so that way you can get there faster. That's awesome. Great plan, sis. I want to know their origin story. Like, I really do. So they want to, they approve and they want to help. So then the first witch says, all right, this is what my plan is. Once I am this tailless rat on the boat, I'm not going to allow the ship to come into port. And so to punish the wife, the witch is not going to allow the husband to sleep or close his eyes. That's kind of rude, you know, like, so if you can't close your eyes, then your eyes are going to get all dried out and like gross and nasty, and they're going to shrink and wither away, and he's going to go blind. And then if he can't sleep, he's going to get weak from lack of sleep. He's going to go insane because, if you don't sleep, you're going to go insane. And ultimately, he's going to die. So she is messed up, yes. And she is going to go and intentionally go and kill this chestnut lady's husband, all because the lady wouldn't share her chestnuts. That's a bit much, like, dang. And then she says, I'm really sad because I can't sink his ship. She's like, well, maybe next time. And she's like, but look what I have. And the sisters are like, oh, show me. This looks cool. What is it?
Show me.
Here I have a pilot's thumb, wrecked as homeward he did come.
She's carrying around a human thumb in her pocket. That is standard witch stuff, but still, I'm gonna be judgy here, and that's not sanitary. That's not sanitary.
A drum, Macbeth doth come.
Remember with scene 1? They were like, when were we going to meet again? After the battle's lost and won upon the heath? And when they are going to meet Macbeth. Oh, there we go. I love it when things just, come for full circle. This is great.
The weird sisters, hand in hand, posters of the sea and land, thus do go about, thrice to thine, and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9. Peace. The charms wound up.
So now they're gathered around the cauldron, and they are going to cast that spell to go and make this happen to the poor husband. This poor guy, he doesn't even know anything about these chestnuts, and he's going to die because of chestnuts. It's all about the chestnuts here, y'all. It's all about the chestnuts. Oh, they're so creepy and weird, and I love it. So now, Macbeth and his best friend Banquo are going to come on in.
A mist suddenly drifts across the heath, hiding the 3 witches, as Macbeth and Banquo enter.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
Have we heard this before? Why, yes, we have. Where did we hear it? I don't know, scene 1. This is cool. So the first line that Macbeth ever speaks in this entire play, it goes and links Macbeth to the witches. So what do you think this says about Macbeth's inner nature? If he's linked already to the witches, does that mean that he's like a good guy? Or is he a bad guy? His inner nature is bad. Oh no. Words count, people. Words count. Remember that. So now we get to hear from my buddy Banquo, although I do have to go and warn you in advance. Banquo does not give the best first impression here, and I'm not excusing his behavior, but he needs a timeout for this. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't approve.
A forest call to forest.
The mist suddenly thins, and the 2 men see the witches.
What are these? So withered and so wild in their attire that look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are on't. Live you? Or are you aught that man may question? You seem to understand me, by each at once her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips. You should be women, and yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so.
Speak if you can. What are you?
Not cool. Like, if you're just like, what did he say? Let's sadly go through this, okay? It's so mean. Oh my gosh, it's so mean. So in their defense, Macbeth and Banquo, they are coming down from battle. They're just walking back home. They're doing their own thing. They're minding their own business. And all of a sudden the mist lifts and they see the witches and they're just like, whoa, what is that? Okay, first, never describe a person as that. That's rude, okay? Not cool. He says, what are these so withered and so wild in their attire? So he's like, ew, these human-like things are like all kind of shriveled up. And I don't know, they like need some conditioner for their hair. It's not their A game. He's like, woo, rough day for these people. He says that look not like the inhabitants of the earth and yet are on it. And he's just all like, y'all do not look human. There is something wrong with you. And then he's like, are you all even alive? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. He's like, because I don't really know. I think you might be dead. That's also rude. Like, if someone's having a rough day, don't just be like, man, you look like death warmed over. That's rude. That's just not cool. And then he says, you seem to understand me by each at once her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips. So they're going like this, the shush sign. They're trying to tell him, just stop talking. Yes, Banquo, listen to the witches. You should stop talking. And also, just side note, remember what happened to the chestnut lady just because she wouldn't share her chestnuts? He is actively insulting them. What is going to happen to him? This is not going to go well. And then it's, you should be women. He's like, you kind of look like you should be female, but dang those beards. Not cool. So that's why we had that question with our stations about the gender roles and the stereotypes and things like that. Now, just remember, back in this time period, female roles were played by men. So most likely, yes, they did have beards. I think like if I were an actress and female playing that role and I would have to hear that every night, I don't know, I think that would impact my psyche negatively. I don't know why, but it would. And then Macbeth jumps on the bandwagon. And he says, hey, can you talk? What are you? These are not good first impressions. Not at all. So let's see what the witches have to say.
All hail, Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis!
All hail, Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor.
All hail, Macbeth. That shalt be king hereafter.
Okay, so we have 3 prophecies here. They say, hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Glamis. And it looks like Glamis, but it's actually pronounced Glams. That's Macbeth's current title. How did they know? That's kind of weird. Again, no social media. I mean, he is going to be like an important thing, but still, like, I don't know. How do they just know that? How are they pulling that out of their hat? Like just right next to the pilot's thumb, pull that out of the pocket? I don't know. Give a slip of paper. Oh, look, this guy. And then the second witch says, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor. All right. How do the witches know this? The title was just given to Macbeth yesterday at the end of our class time. Oh, maybe he does have a name tag, but most people couldn't read back then. Yeah, he doesn't know that he's Thane of Cawdor. He has not been informed of this. So maybe he is wearing maybe he's wearing, like a plaid that goes and like proclaims him Thane of Cawdor or Thane of Glom, excuse me. But nothing with Gloms or, geez. All right, let me restart that because that. So maybe his plaid indicates that he's the Thane of Gloms, but he wouldn't have anything with Thane of Cawdor on it. And then the third one says that what's going to happen to Macbeth? I mean, seriously, you can't see behind my mask, but you all remember, like the weird facial expressions I have. What's the third prophecy going to be? He's going to be king. Yes. He's going to be king. Woo. So, I mean, this should be good news, but Macbeth is absolutely shocked by this information. Now, Shakespeare goes and twists historical facts here. The real Macbeth was a popular choice as a ruler. And if you guys remember from your background information that Macbeth defeated Duncan in battle and then became king, and he was king for like 17 years. Scotland didn't have a hierarchy, so like with England and a lot of the king's I don't even know, royalty. What is that? The court, yeah, I guess. I don't know. It sounds I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say with that. But it's not a hierarchy in Scotland, so it's not like whoever's the oldest. Oh yeah, thank you. Divine right of kings. Thank you. Yeah. Instead, it was whoever was the most suitable leader was chosen by the thanes, and the strongest person always took control. And so, therefore, Macbeth has a genuine claim to the throne because, I mean, look at what he just did to MacDonald with, unseeming him. That's pretty awesome. Now, Banquo is going to notice his shock, and he's going to make fun of him. Again, this is not the best first impression of Banquo.
Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? In the name of truth, are ye fantastical, or that indeed which outwardly you show? My noble partner you greet with present grace and great prediction of noble having and of royal hope that he seems rapt withal. To me you speak not. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favours nor your hate.
All right, in the witch's defense, he went and like super insulted them, so I wouldn't go and give him any predictions either. But that's just me. So Banquo then is a little nicer to the witches, and he's a little jealous that they claim that Macbeth's going to be given these future titles. And he's just like, well, if you can see into the future, what about me? I want to know. I don't know. How would you guys feel about that? Would you want to know if you had like your best friend just be told like some really good news? There you go. See when COVID's over, be like, you know what? How's this going to end for me? You know? Yeah. So let's see what the witches have to say.
Hail,
Hail.
Hail.
lesser than Macbeth, and greater.
Not so happy, yet much happier.
Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
So here is some foreshadowing. So we have that literary term of foreshadowing. They say that Banquo will be lesser than Macbeth and greater. That means that he won't have as many titles, but he will be a greater man. So a better person. So not as many titles, but he's going to be the better person. Second part. Not so happy, yet much happier. That means that he's not going to be as fortunate, but he's going to have a lot more happiness in his life. Sounds good. And then the third one is thou shalt get kings, which means that he will be the father to kings, to future kings. Though thou be none means that he will not be a king himself. But that'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Like if you have kids and just be like, yeah, one day your child is going to be king. Would that influence like your parenting style? I think that it would for me at least. I'd be like, dang, my kid's going to be king. Or like, just think if your kid's one day going to be president, would you like change some things that you do or things that you say? Because you know there's going to be an autobiography eventually. I don't know. That just that would give me the heebie-jeebies. Okay, so side note with this, King James I, that's the king who told Shakespeare to go and rewrite Macbeth because he's like, no, I don't like it. King James I was Banquo's direct ancestor. So these lines right here are to go and make James really happy. And so like if James sitting in the audience, he's probably just all like, yeah, he is going to be the father to future kings because I am. He's going to be like, yeah, straighten the crown a little bit. Let's see how Macbeth reacts.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail.
And they begin to vanish.
Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more! By Simmel's death, I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives, a prosperous gentleman. And to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than to be Cawdor. Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greeting. Speak, I charge you!
But the witches vanish, leaving the very ground bubbling.
Okay, so I always kind of wonder, how did people in Shakespeare's time accomplish this? How did the actors do this? Because, I mean, obviously with the Globe Theater, they had a trapdoor in the middle of the stage. So yes, that's how they could have the witches vanish. How did they make the ground bubble though? And I don't know the answer to this. This is a sincere question. So if you know and you can figure this out, please let me know because I am genuinely curious and I want to know, like, I can understand how they would do it in today's world, you know, because we have, I don't know, like more stuff, but I mean, Shakespeare, they didn't have a lot of technology. So I don't know. But anyway, yes, the ground is bubbling. That'd be creepy. Like, especially when you're imagining they're supposed to be just like out in the middle of the forest and then you just have like dirt bubbling. That's weird. So Macbeth is definitely freaking out. He's not handling this news very well. And he's just all like, why are you saying these things? He's like, yes, I am the Thane of Glamis. He's like, but I'm not the Thane of Cawdor. The Thane of Cawdor is alive. Yeah, he was a traitor, but no, he's a I love this, worthy gentleman. The inner nature of Macbeth is coming out right there. He's the one who defeated him and put him in jail. It's like, and you're still calling him a worthy gentleman? He's not a gentleman. He's a traitor. Anyway, and he's like, and I'm not going to be king. He says, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than to be Cawdor. He's like, I'm speechless. I just don't even know what to say about this. It's like, well, calm down, sir. You're an important thane. Of course that there's an option for this. You can do it. But they don't go and explain it. Instead, they just go and vanish. So let's see how they react.
The earth hath bubbles as the water has, and these are of them. Whither are they vanished?
Into the air. And what seemed corporal melted as breath into the wind. Would they had stayed?
What?
So Banquo and Macbeth are just kind of like looking at each other, like wide-eyed, and they're just like, what just happened? And Banquo's like looking at the ground. He's like, do you see what I see? Because the earth is bubbling. The dirt is bubbling. This is not cool. And he's just like, where did they vanish to? And Macbeth's just like, I don't know. I guess in the thin air. This is, I wish that they had stayed. This is really kind of creeping me out. They probably need a hug. I think so.
Are such things here as we do speak about? Or have we eaten on the insane route that takes the reason prisoner?
So Banquo was just like, dude, did you imagine that? Because I think we both imagined that. Did we eat something that was just not okay? Like, what happened? It's just like, so either one of two things, we were poisoned or we hallucinated this. And this is weird. He's like, that couldn't have been true. That's just too weird. He's like, did you hear that? I heard that. Freaking out.
Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
Yeah, buddy. So Macbeth is very haunted by this. And he's just like, Banquo, you already have kids. Your kids, like the ones that you like potty trained, they will one day be king. They're going to go and make decisions about other people. That's weird. Like, I remember looking at my nieces when they were infants and thinking, wow, one day you're actually going to like walk and talk and actually have thoughts. I'm sure that they did as babies. I don't know. I'm not a baby person. But now, like, my eldest niece is 16. The second oldest is 13. And I'm just like, huh, that is not what I expected at all, like whatsoever. And like, I like pretty much the people that they've become. You know, they're still young teenagers, so you know. But it's just very interesting in order to think about that one day they will probably be making my medical decisions. And that's terrifying because all they do is watch TikTok videos. And I'm just like, well, they're not the good TikTok videos. Like, they're the dumb TikTok videos. No, there's some that are good. Well, I mean, even if they watch like one or two of the good ones, but no, nothing. And I'm just like, oh no. Yeah, one day they're gonna be making my medical decisions. But Banquo is just all super impressed. He's like, dude, you are gonna be king. Let's not talk about my kids. You are gonna be king. Wow. That's kind of cool.
And Thane of Cawdor too, went it not so?
To the self-same tune and words.
Enter Ross and Angus.
Who's here?
The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success, and when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonders and his praises do contend which should be thine or his. Silenced with that, in viewing all the rest doth self-same day, he finds thee in the stout Norwegian ranks, nothing afeard of what thyself didst make. Strange images of death, as thick as hail, came post with post, and every one did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defence, and poured them down before him.
Okay. So remember, Ross is one of, I told you guys that he's going to be the one that always is going to be bringing bad news, but in this case it's good news. But I always kind of imagine like first season Ross Geller from Friends, and then Angus, just because of his name, I kind of picture like, I don't know, a brown-haired man, because like an Angus cow, I don't know, with glorious eyes, soulful eyes, and beautiful lashes, because cows have beautiful eyelashes. Um, have you ever looked into a cow's eyes? Like, it's life changing. You know, it's kind of magical. Like, it's beautiful. So anyway, Macbeth and Banquo are scared, and they're just all like, "Who's there?" And then Ross Geller and Angus, the man who reminds me of a glorious cow, comes on out, and Ross is like, my man, the king is so happy with you, Macbeth, and he is like speechless, and he wants to praise you, but he's still trying to find the words. And he's like, Macbeth, Duncan is so impressed that you went on into battle and you had like no fear of death for yourself. He's like, he just keeps hearing all these good things and he wants to go and reward you for this. So let's see what he says then.
We are sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, only to herald thee into his sight, not pay thee.
And for an earnest of a greater honour, he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor. In which addition, hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine.
What, can the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes?
So they go and give him the information of that, yes, he is the Thane of Cawdor, which is what the witches prophesied. Now, Banquo has this aside, which it's him talking to himself. It would just be like, what? How does that happen? He's like, okay, so the first prophecy was correct because that he already had that. Now within like 5 minutes, he's already the Thane of Cawdor. And Macbeth is freaking out by what the witches said. He doesn't believe it. And he asks, how can you give me another Thane's title when he's still alive? Well, because he was a traitor. That's why, man. And that's where we're going to pause for today, you guys. What do y'all think so far? It's intense, right? Yeah. Ah, it's so exciting. Oh. So yeah, Macbeth is like still freaking out about all of this. And tomorrow we're going to see like his complete meltdown. It's going to be great.